Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another GTA 5 video. So as I'm sure all of you guys are aware, Rockstar Games will be dropping a brand new summer DLC on June 17th, and of course, as always, we know we're going to be receiving a bunch of new vehicles, most likely a new business with a new property, a bunch of new outfits and clothing. However, one thing that Rockstar Games will often throw into a DLC are some brand new weapons. Of course, we don't receive as many weapons as vehicles or outfits, so when Rockstar Games often drop the weapons into the game, the community are often hyped as to what type of weapon Rockstar Games do plan to add into the game, as we have got a bunch of different weapons now. However, there is still a bunch of weapons from previous GTA games that for some reason Rockstar Games have not added into GTA 5 yet. Now, some of the most credible data miners in the GTA 5 community have had a few things to say as to what new unreleased weapons we could be seeing Rockstar Games add into the game with this big summer DLC. So that's exactly what we're going to be taking a closer look at in today's video. So as always, if you guys do want to enjoy the video and you do appreciate me keeping you up to date with all of the latest GTA 5 news, all I ask is you do return the favor by dropping a like down below, and if you guys are new around here, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, as I do post daily GTA 5 videos. With that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so in a video a few weeks ago, we spoke about some cut animations that were included with the COPS N CROOKS DLC, which of course would have been to do with new actions involving being a police officer or even being a criminal being arrested. So some of these animations including putting a player in handcuffs, a player getting down on his knees with his hands behind his head, plus a bunch more like being able to transport a player once he's arrested. So if you guys haven't seen that video, do be sure to go ahead and watch it after this video if you are interested in more leaks to do with the COPS N CROOKS DLC. Now, Yoshi, who is one of the most credible data miners in the GTA 5 community, who has leaked out a ton of stuff to do with DLCs over the years, he went ahead and said this: there was also some collectibles, including a police badge. There was also a gun, but that came out in a later DLC. So as I'm sure you guys are all aware, and as I've mentioned in a previous video, the COPS N CROOKS DLC, for you guys that are unaware, I am aware there's a lot of new GTA 5 players that I do see in my comment section who have no idea that the COPS N CROOKS DLC was actually a DLC planned to be released back in 2020. However, it did get pulled due to the politics around policing in America, and they ended up making a quick Southern San Andreas summer update. A lot of you guys thought that update was very random, and that's because Rockstar Games never actually planned on releasing that update that summer, but like I said, it was meant to be the COPS N CROOKS DLC. Now, of course, it would make sense for us to be able to go ahead and dress our character up as a police officer. For you guys that aren't aware, I have been making videos on GTA 5 since the release, and I have covered a ton of different glitches many years ago. We're talking maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, showing you guys how you could actually obtain the police outfit in GTA 5 online. So I do know a thing or two about getting this outfit in free roam. Now, Rockstar Games actually started to clamp down leading up to 2020 by blacklisting all of the police uniforms. So as you guys can see on screen, this is some old gameplay when I played pre-blacklist. I was able to go ahead and do a police outfit glitch. There's been tons of different methods over the years, and I was able to save this as an outfit so I could happily come online, use my police outfit, roleplay, appear off the radar, and troll players by turning up in a police car. It was actually a pretty fun thing to do back in the day when GTA Online was a much simpler place. However, you guys that are old school glitchers would have known that they never actually went ahead and blacklisted the entire police outfit. So at the start, they only blacklisted certain items from the outfit, because the actual police outfit itself is made up of different components. So of course you have the trousers and the top, but you've also got a belt, the badge, and you've got a hat. Now, the badge itself is actually part of the top. However, there was glitches back in the day that would allow you to transport the police badge onto different tops. Now, it is interesting that Yoshi has mentioned that one of the items or a collectible did include a police badge. So there probably would have been different versions of different police badges you could unlock as you rank up your character in some form of policing level, as Yoshi has also mentioned previously that the COPS N CROOKS DLC will include a separate game mode very similar to the Arena Wars. So if you guys aren't aware, the Arena Wars does have its own ranking up system, which are known as AP points. So with the COPS N CROOKS DLC, not only will you guys be ranking yourself up separate to RPs, so either as a cop or a criminal, and that way you guys will be unlocking different items. Now, as I mentioned, when we was able to go ahead and glitch the police outfit onto a character back in the day, we was able to bypass the blacklist by taking certain parts of the police outfit and then merging them onto another outfit. So a lot of you old school GTA glitchers will remember when they came out with a patch blacklisting the police outfit, there was different ways to go ahead and get the top or go ahead and get the hat, and that wasn't blacklisted. You could still go ahead and wear that freely. However, patch after patch and year after year, Rockstar Games just went ahead and fully blacklisted the police outfit, kind of insinuating that they plan on releasing it in a future DLC. Why on earth would Rockstar Games care so much about players wearing a police outfit in a game that's 10 years old, especially considering they didn't really care about players wearing it when GTA 5 was at its peak for player numbers? And of course, the reason for that should be very obvious. If they do plan on releasing something as an update, they do want it to be special and have an appeal to players and make them want to go ahead and get the outfit. Whereas if there was a glitch in the game that allowed all players to get a police outfit and then Rockstar Games released the police outfit, everyone's going to turn around to them and say, we've already got that outfit, bring us some new content. So depending how you look at it, it is either really smart from Rockstar Games or very lazy. Now, he also mentioned in that post, like I said, that they also had a gun that was part of the COPS N CROOKS DLC that was later released. Now, it didn't take me long to figure out or remember what gun potentially could have been included with a police DLC that was released recently. And once again, this is another item that I showed you guys how to glitch years ago in the game. So as you guys can see on screen, 7 years ago, 157,000 views, I showed you guys how to go ahead and acquire the stun gun in GTA 5 Online, and I do believe I was one of the first people to go ahead and post that, because a good friend of mine used to make modded jobs and he was the one that actually worked out how to go ahead and glitch it. That's why it's important that you guys are subscribed to this channel when GTA 6 does drop, as you will be guaranteed to be getting all of the exclusive stuff first. So like I said, 7 years ago I went ahead and showed you guys how to get this stun gun, which has been in the game for as long as I can remember, definitely over 7 years ago, and it was only recently released with the contract DLC. So of course this was after 2020 when it was meant to be in the COPS N CROOKS, but then like I said was later released as Rockstar Games had all of this unreleased content that they still can go ahead and release. And of course, the stun gun is a very known police weapon, especially in the UK where only certain police are allowed to be armed, unlike America. However, he does expand on this post by saying there was also a collectible for tagging posters, additionally a flash grenade, a riot shotgun, and a riot SMG. So once again, just like the stun gun, which of course is quintessentially very much a police weapon, flash grenades are very much used by the police, and funny enough, we actually seen gameplay of this being used in the GTA 6 trailer when you get a first person view of the police conducting a raid on one of the properties. As I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen in videos or you've watched Cops back in the day, they kick the door down, usually throw a flash grenade in there, shocks everyone, and you can storm into the building. Now interestingly, they also had a riot shotgun and a riot SMG, which is very interesting to see. As you guys can see on screen, pretty much a bad boy police shotgun, which you guys would expect would be an instant one-shot kill shotgun. And then of course he also mentions there would have been a riot SMG. So of course, once again, police weaponry, usually armed police deal with stuff like riots, big protests, where they do have specific type of weapons to deal with big crowds. So a riot SMG over your typical SMG will most likely carry bigger magazines, and like I said, come with a few more capabilities more suited to policing. Now that wasn't all. There was also 65 tattoos that was found in the game files to do with the COPS N CROOKS DLC, which would have been very, very interesting indeed. We do know Rockstar Games like to mock real life events or establishments in the game, so it would have been interesting to see what type of tattoos they would have included with a COPS N CROOKS DLC, because obviously you can't get taken away too much with the policing of this DLC with the word cops, because crooks are also involved in this DLC. So the main basis of this DLC obviously will be heavily based around the new abilities of being a police officer, but I think the tattoos probably would have been more crook based. Police officers, from my knowledge, aren't best known for the tattoos they've got. Now he does also mention in this post something very, very interesting, that proximity chat was also intended to be a thing with the COPS N CROOKS DLC. Now this is where I want to hear from you guys down low in the comment section, because it is pretty much what he said. Proximity chat is where you guys can only talk or hear other players within a certain area. Now, why this could work in 100 different ways, because obviously if you guys are aware with 5M and PC mods, certain players that roleplay as police officers only like to obviously be able to communicate with certain players without letting the entire lobby hearing what they're saying. So if this was to be a completely new type of free mode session where you was either a cop or a crook, you could only probably detect the criminals by hearing them through the proximity chat. But like I said, there is tons of different ways they could make proximity chat, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you think Rockstar Games intended this to be a thing with the COPS N CROOKS DLC. And whilst 99% of you guys are aware that these data miners are 100% legit and credible with what they say, he did also go ahead and shared some game files to back up of what he was saying. So as you guys can see here, there was coding which read case collectible police badges, and it is important to note it does say police badges and not badge. As I mentioned earlier, it would of course make sense for them to release police outfits with a police DLC, and not just your bog standard ones, different styles of them, so we could even go ahead and customize the badges on the outfit, which would be a nice little touch from Rockstar Games, especially if we can go ahead and have our crew logo molded into the police badge. I think that would be a really sick feature they could add with this DLC. He also shows another bit of code in here which read case collectible tagging, which does read if not has player collected spray can for poster tagging. So like I said, there would have been two roles that could be played with this DLC, either a cop or a crook. So one of the tasks of being a police officer probably would have been one of the low level crimes of a 1-star thing, where you would have had to go ahead and track down players who were spraying posters or doing graffiti. However, he does go on to show some more game files here, showing a bunch of different police weapons that were found in the game files. As I mentioned, we've got the stun gun, which was actually a special police version of the stun gun, the riot SMG, the BZ gas M2, so obviously some sort of gas where you can gas players out, the riot shotgun, a flash grenade, the police rifle, and another stun grenade. So GTA really would have felt like Call of Duty all of a sudden, from going to having no flashbangs whatsoever in the game before to going ahead and having either a flash or a stun grenade. It should be very, very interesting to see what these are like once Rockstar Games go ahead and release them. However, he then goes ahead and shows some more game files here, which does read CNC proximity chat range. That is actually code for COPS N CROOKS, and I am very, very interested to hear from you guys on this one. How do you think Rockstar Games are going to use this proximity chat? I will be making more videos very, very soon talking about all of the upcoming police vehicles, plus some more information on potential new heists that we should be seeing in the game very soon. So make sure you guys do have notifications turned on so you don't miss any of those videos. And if you do appreciate me keeping you up to date with all of the latest leaks and news, all I ask is you do return the favor by dropping a like down below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.